Welcome back, everyone, to the second game of the European region, the one to close out the day for Europe. And we're going to be coming into TSM up against SK Gaming. So TSM and SK, this is kind of an unfortunate matchup, right? Because they're they're both, fourth and fifth. It's rough.
Yeah, it's tough. And, Coast ideally would want them to be playing different people so they could be like, oh, I want you to both lose because that helps us more, right? But that's not the case here. But, SK, they've had such a hard time. Two losses you can almost chalk up directly to the fact that they had subs, right?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you have to say
Zalia
that. Subs are nightmares.
It's rough.
It really is.
Especially for a game like this where you have set roles.
Yeah.
Because the subs don't always have a set role, and if they do, who do you move people around and that kind of thing. So if your sub's a solo and your hunter player can't play...
Well, that's it. That's exactly like what happened last night with Thirst, right?
Yeah.
Like their Guardian switched to Hunter.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big transition.
Sure.
Yeah, some would say.
Same lane.
I guess that's all you can swing it, my man, but I would not have looked at it.
One other thing about it as well is both these teams will be in the TSM Invitational next week, and so next Saturday, the day off, these two teams will be playing in the TSM Invitational, so they have something to do here. But look at the start. You can see that Freya is banned away immediately. You don't want to give this away to TSM, so SK taking that first ban here, and in response, TSM takes away Aphrodite.
Yeah, dude, do you like the Aphrodite ban? Is she that strong where you actually have to priority ban her?
Against Maniac, yes.
Yeah.
Maniac plays Aphrodite to a top level, and here's the thing about Aphrodite, and Bart and I really talked about this a lot, is the fact that you just don't want to deal with her. She's just a pain in the butt.
She has so much
healing, knockback, slow, stun, immunity on the ultimate, and somebody else. And so, it really just comes to the fact that Maniac is unkillable when he's using this character, and then, of course, everyone around her becomes that much more unkillable as well.
Yep, well, we're going to be seeing the Zhonghui ban here out of SK. I like it. I do like it. And then Nuwa, which, why is that the fad? I still haven't...
It's the burst damage. Honestly, I don't even think it's the ultimate. I just think it's the fact that when you get close to Nuwa, she just snaps her fingers and you die. That's just how much she just has incredible burst and also a good ultimate. So I can see the reasoning behind it, and a lot of times it comes down to who you're playing. If you play squishy characters, maybe you don't want to deal with that kind of crap. But we see Mercury first picked here.
Now, is that going to be a Mercury ADC?
Well,
because Mercury is very, very versatile now.
One thing we should mention.
Okay.
As I shoot this out, I'm leaning over because I'm a little confused here. I'm going to shoot this out to everyone on the stream. This is actually backwards. It's SK Gaming on the left, TSM on the right. So first pick for SK is Mercury. First picks for Team SoloMid are Geb and Loki. This is reverse. Sorry about the confusion, guys.
Yeah. I was wondering what you were like leaning over.
Yeah, I was like, that's not what.
Something is afoot here. But the Geb and the Loki. Geb is so dominant. Is there ever, if he's available, is there ever a game where you don't see Geb grabbed?
Unfortunately, yes.
Really?
Yeah, it hurts.
No.
You do. It happens.
Stop it.
It happens for whatever reason. It happens. But he's an amazing character. I'm a little terrified here because SK Gaming going to start with a very bursty lineup. They've got Habwa, they've got Ram, they've got Mercury. Two of those are hyper carries. The other one's just a standard I'm going to kill everyone carry. Across the way, TSM's going to go for a pretty stable lineup. Geb, Loki, and Nemesis. Now, one to think about. Game Hunter's been playing Loki and been doing very well with it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So, what, are you expecting a big game here out of Game Hunter?
Definitely. So here's the thing, though. With Habwa and Mercury on the table, will they be running a Mercury solo, a Habwa solo, or somebody else? Because they can put Mercury in the jungle, they can put Habwa in the mid and pick up a solo. As far as Maniac goes, he may be running Habwa, but we'll see. Giannis banned out here by SK. TSM gets rid of Ra.
So Giannis would definitely be a... I don't know who they're going to go with here. Well, obviously they need a mid, so...
They do.
It's maybe Agni?
Well, there's Agni. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
And, Lobster has been known throughout the history
of Smite.
He's so
good with it, right?
As Agni. Yeah, Lobster's Agni is legendary. Not the in-game legendary, like the actual real legendary, like people.
Oh, I see what you
did
there. That was like
then I could say he's Diamond, but then, does that really matter?
That was better than a DM joke.
Okay.
Like with a pun.
I'll take that.
I'll give
I'll
you
take
that.
I'll take that.
Yesterday, there was a couple times where I was like, oh, my God.
You weren't around for the What's Your Perfect Sunday era. I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna leave you in the dark on that one.
Okay.
Chad, if you remember that era, feel for me. Feel for me, thank you. Across the way here for SK Gaming, we've got Bacchus and Hoon Bots hovered on here. Bacchus in response, of course, to the fact that Geb has been picked, but Athena has not been banned. So they're going with your route where they want Bacchus.
I like Bacchus, and you got to think. I mean, you take Bacchus and you put his Intoxicate down, just even in that solo lane. Anyways, Rom should have his way with them.
Yeah.
Assuming all goes according to plan. I mean, that's a lot of CC coming out of Bacchus, and plus, he can kind of easily kind of just walk in the lane, get his free pokes as Bacchus is just drunk running around.
He's scary. I mean, he took a lot of damage, and we've seen Bacchus actually kill people outright with the fact that his ultimate huge burst, kind of damage
real?
going out there. That's real.
The Neath?
Yeah, the Neath.
That's an actual thing.
Yeah, Neath was picked a lot in the kickoff lanes, and the biggest thing about Neath is she has an attack speed slow, which helps against other hunters.
Okay.
The biggest downside for Neath is that she's not very safe because her only escape is predictable. Once she backflips, she goes straight back, and you know exactly where she's landing. If you're playing against at a high level, Artemis can even walk up and put a trap where she's going to land because they're so comfortable with how far it goes and where it lands. But the one thing here, Gandhi, is the fact that she's got the global ultimate, so a lot of kill opportunities.
Which comes down to a lot of communication.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, I mean, at this level of play, anyone's going to be weak. She's going to be able to rip that ultimate right away. But taking a look at the lineups here, which one are you favoring kind of going into, we'll start with the early game phase.
You know, honestly, early game, I think I'm going to have to give it here to TSM. They have a little more durability there. They have the global ultimate. It's going to work out. But as far as late game goes, I think I have to give it to SK. We've seen this trend building and building and building SPL so far. The teams that have the late game prowess, the hyper carries, the hard damage are the ones that usually come out ahead here. So SK is going to be running Mercury and Habla, scary. Hoonbot's good AoE damage, great team fight ultimate, scary. Bacchus, a lot of control as well. And then Rom going into that one. And the biggest thing is you look across the way, Loki is a character. Look at Nemesis. Their melee characters have to get close, right? That'd be close. But when they're drunk, have you ever tried to take 2 shivs and backstab someone when you're drunk?
No.
No, you haven't? It's really hard.
Yeah, I can't say that's been like my Saturday night.
I failed all my assassinations when I'm drunk.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't TSM kind of like win in the late game? Like that's kind of like their thing. They try to force things to go a little bit later so then they can kind of secure that win?
They do. They like to have that control, and that's what Game Hunter likes to do. Smek is also very stable at that. And Lobster, one of those mid lanes that, he's very cautious, but he's on that very edge of becoming aggressive, where if he sees an opportunity, he'll die for it. Doesn't think about it. So that's kind of thing where you see more passive mids like MLC Stealth, he'll double ward and sit back like, come get me. Deal with it. Whereas Lobster's like, I'm going to be in the middle of the lane. If I see danger, I'll run. But if I see an opportunity, I'm going for it. So Lobster's hard to predict a lot of the times.
Now, flip side here, Hunbots being played by Zeros.
Yeah.
Is this a good pick?
I think so. The biggest thing about it is that ultimate, it's got that spread. So you put down the Fear No Evil, it fears them all away, gets that distance around, and it's really easy to kind of like control the team fight. It's going to help with Nemesis and Loki, those melee characters. But let's talk a little bit about SK since we're talking about Hoonbots. Hoonbots going to be played by Zeros on the right side of your screen when they play jungle. So just for funsies, let's go backwards here. Badja on Guardian, he's going to be playing Bacchus. We've got Reels on that Hunter roll. He's going to be hopping on Rum. Captain Twig is going to be playing mid lane. This time around he's playing Habwa. And of course, in the solo lane, we've got Maniac, and he's going to be playing Mercury.
Yeah, so we are going to see the solo Mercury, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen a Mercury solo lane in so long just because the fad has been, let's go Mercury Hunter. Send him into the duo lane. Which I obviously it works, but I don't know. Let's take a look at TSM, though, Drybear.
So TSM coming up here on screen. You're going to see them. They're going to be the Chaos side, of course, in the burnt grass or the dead grass. We've got TSM. We've got Game Hunter in the solo lane playing Loki. Cubefred in the jungle, and he's going to be hopping on Nemesis. Lobster in the mid lane. He's taking that Agni. Smek on Hunter, taking Neath, and Geb is going to be played by Trixtank in the support role. We're going to see another jungle Nemesis this game.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is what did you say that ratio was with the Chaos victory last
61%.
game? 61%. So with Team Coast, who's 1-7, taking out Mortality in the European scene, it probably bumps it up just a little bit.
Oh,
so
man.
do you think that's going to be the fad? And if so, how do you answer that since it's such an advantage.
Well, it comes down to jungle, right? And
Yeah.
really, it's just the fact that they have more of a movement speed buff on the right side versus you see the order side has movement speed buff on the left side, so it's more towards the Gold Fury. So you're going to see them pick up the movement speed buff first on the side of Chaos, whereas they get damage, and damage does help clear, but you don't have the mobility to get around the map and steal buffs away. So what we've seen time and time again is Chaos teams, not so much this week, but a little bit last week, a lot the first week, Chaos teams invading the movement speed buff and stealing it away.
So you do basically have to go with that invade.
Invades work great, and honestly, if DM was here, he'd agree 100%. He's a big fan of those invades.
Huge.
So, I'd like to see, honestly, I want to take his side here. I would love to see more invades starting up, SK and TSM kind of getting more involved regardless, because, look at the level 1 here. Both teams actually have a fantastic level 1.
Well, it looks like they might actually consider it here, but I don't know. Maniac actually looks like he might start all the way in the back at the Harpies, which wouldn't make any sense to me. That would literally confuse me to the point where I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, they're going to build it up in the beginning, right? And then they're going to think a little bit about how they're going to control this. You're going to see 3 hogs on the side of TSM, 2 hogs on the side of SK. Both teams have a hog 2, which is going to be on the jungler. And, of course, you have this option when you're jungling, right? Do you want hog 2? Do you want boots 1, hog 1? And the biggest difference, of course, is you got 90 seconds cooldown on the hog 2, hog 1, and then 60 seconds on the hog 2. So that 30-second difference allows you to possibly steal an extra harpy camp or maybe steal a buff when you had that time to hog it. But, starting out here, you can see a little bit of an interesting build coming out from Hobble. He's going for Vampiric Shroud into Soul Reliquary, which means that he has no gold for potions.
And you think, just for lane sustainability, that's not good at all.
Well, you're building only for the Vampiric Shroud. It gives you 10 health and mana every time you kill an enemy, the minions, of course, and it keeps you a little bit growing with the MP5, the magic power, and the health. So, when you go up against Ao Guang, it's great, right? Because when Kukulkan, I'm living in the past here. If Kukulkan picks up this build, it's more that he can just sit at the tower and farm. He doesn't really have to leave the tower, and of course he doesn't really need anything else but the Vampiric Shroud. But Habwa, a little bit different, needs to get close to the wave to clear the minions. So we'll see how Captain Twig spins this.
Now, why did Zeros actually start off and grab that damage buff all by himself?
Ooh, Lobster in the mid lane. Hold that thought for a second. Looking for the damage here. Captain Twig looking for the kill. Can he get it? He's gonna get it there. Lobster going down. Captain Twig takes it out. And one thing, as we went for the jungle buff thought there, he actually did the best thing you can do against an Agni. Lobster dashed first. And then we saw Captain Twig jump in the flames, pull the minions onto him, and fought him. And that is just textbook counter Agni.
Huh. Interesting. Well, Captain Twig is going to have a humongous lead now, as he is actually going to be able to push this wave. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see an early back from him as well.
Well, it may be the case, holding on to it. Even the left side, SK, we're going to see a Badger drop in low here on Blockus. Right side, checking on the Soul, and it seems like Game Hunter and Cube are getting too much grab on Game Hunter. Into the tower he goes. No tower shots come out. There's actually the Vanish and the Aim Strike as well, taking no tower shots. Oh, this slice and dice! TSM answered! It looks like we've got blow for blow starting up here.
Yeah, Cubo did not waste any time. He went straight with that execution here, as now Zeros will be able to hold down the lane all by himself. Meanwhile, in the duo lane, Reels taking a lot of damage. He has to be very, very careful here. The knockup from Trix actually is going to do a little bit of damage. Here comes the roll, and it looks like there is going to be another engagement, and Reels is able to stay alive, though, because of Bacchus CC. Will that be the case for Badger?
Nice body block. A few more shots necessary. The tower does take the damage on Trix. Like he's still alive.
Wow.
Oh, and they can't stay, because if Neith hits level 5, she's going to be able to shoot him from behind.
Yeah, how they got out of there is impressive. Reels.
Ooh. Nice dash there, able to get away. Of course, doesn't have a cripple associated with it. Lobster has to dash away in the mid lane again, so Captain Twig in complete control. And that's the thing, right? Captain Twig was exposed. He had no consumables, and he's playing Habwa. Agni wins that matchup if he doesn't misplay. But right there, Lobster giving away first blood means that now Captain Twig is terrifying in this lane.
Now, Trixtech just threw a ward down right there at the speed buff. What kind of information is he going to be trying to grab with that ward placed there?
He just wants to make sure that it doesn't actually get stolen away, and that's the big thing, is that you want to make sure that everything happens, and if you see an opportunity to go over there, they'll go for it. Actually, you see them actually return it because of that ward on the ground. The Trixtech just wants to make sure that another one doesn't get stolen away, which it just did. Not stolen, not in the sense of it got taken away, but the fact that if they want it, then they'll be able to get it without them knowing about it. So they had that ward down there, actually coming behind, possibly looking to steal Harpies, I guess, or maybe just throw a little dirt in his face and then run away.
Hey, man, take dirt.
He's like, hey, you took my movement speed. Ran away there. A little bit rough. But in the beginning here, 3 minutes on the clock. Smek is level 5, has that World to Weaver, and will be able to get that long-distance ultimate.
Yep, and you know the ward coverage here out of SK, not the best. They actually only have 2 wards in the map, one way down by the blue, and the other one right on the outside of Fire Giant. So I'd like to see a little bit more wards out of them.
Yeah, the wards in the beginning make a big difference, right? Because you mean that you can actually control the mid camps. And speaking of mid camps, they have respawn. Trickstank Soul is the left one. The right one will go to SK. Neath ultimate on zeros. It might hit Captain Twig. Into the tower he goes. Nemesis ultimate on Captain Twig. He has a crushing wave. He might not use it here. Damage came on zero. Actually, that ult hit Badger?
Yeah, and look at that rotation, though. I mean, there was 4 members of TSM just grouping into the middle, and now Captain Twig, he actually does have a level 1 Aegis as well, which hopefully, TSM's taking note of.
Oh, they have to, because if Lobster doesn't know that's there, he's going to lose the matchup every single time. That means that he's going to be able to avoid 1, maybe 2 bombs if Lobsters are not paying attention, and then all of a sudden, crushing waves, water spout, water cannon. He's just dead. And that's the problem, is that if he doesn't recognize that Aegis, he's going to have a really tough time.
Now, did Captain Twig only purchase that just because of the matchup there that he has versus Lobster?
Well, I mean, he could see a rotation from the Loki, but that's it. He just wants to, and it's the same thing why Zeus buys Aegis, is that he has so much burst, but it's separated by cooldowns that you are making yourself immune, and then when you come out of it, you've bought a few seconds to use another ability to kill them. And so he's now going to be looking for a little bit of movement speed from the boots. It looks like he's heading towards that early Book of Thoth, and he's got that Aegis damage. But in response, Lobster's got his, and a little bit more notable for Lobster because he's able to pop that Aegis to avoid the big burst of the Hubble ultimate. And then once he's got that, he might have a win.
Well, Captain Twig still staying on top of everything. Meanwhile, we haven't seen any real engagements here out of the solo lane. Does that surprise you at all because of the matchup here? I mean, it's a Loki and a Mercury.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, Maniac's just going to be poking with Made You Look. But, the only person that really has kill potential here is going to be Game Hunter. But the problem is that every time he tries to go for it, Maniac's going to dash away. See how fast he is. I mean, he just pops his 2 maximum velocity and dashes away, and he's good to go.
We might see a little bit of a gank opportunity here. Mercury, Maniac is luckily going to be okay, and there's going to be a little bit of a push there. Eat some turret shots, but nothing crazy coming out of that one.
Well, that's the thing, that Nemesis is easy to dive towers because you can pop the Retribution Shield, absorb the tower shot, heal yourself, and then leave. So you're able to kind of just go in there and get that slice and dice. Maniac's going to pick up an Aegis as well as Kivo Fred comes into mid lane. Now, the cool thing about this, Gandhi, and of course, for those of you watching at home know, and really, the best thing about it is that you can pick up Greater Aegis, which you can use while you're CC'd, which means when Loki ults you and stuns you, you pop the Aegis in the stun, which means you miss the aim strike and the vanish, and you can keep yourself alive.
So this is just basically complete counters.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's great.
That's always really good to see. I'm almost wondering if we're going to see TSM start to really start pushing the issue here and get ready for this Gold Fury scene, since they are kind of favoring that side here with the mid Harpies coming up and the damage buff. If they win the team fight, it's definitely going to be a possibility.
Well, we're going to see if the Gold Fury is still up. Ward's coming out from Trickstank, wondering if he's going to go there and see if he can pick it up. But the problem is that the vision is what controls this whole area. Initiation coming out, and they're going to go for this. Good ultimate coming out from Zeros, forcing Trickstank away. Bombs coming out of Captain Twig. Does he have ultimate? They're going looking for Zeros, can't find it over the wall. He goes with the somersault. Wow, they actually cleared out SK completely. Look for the left camp. The right camp goes down to Game Hunter.
Wow.
Maniac late to the party there, and they just got away with everything.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I mean, Zeros was just chilling in the back. He took some damage, and he was like, "Okay, this is gonna be bad here." Badger here spotting that they are gonna go for the speed camp. Lops is gonna be coming in for the party as well. Zeros now not realizing it. He does have to be careful. Is able to avoid that. Badger now does have reels coming around the side. They luckily aren't gonna be able to die, but they did get their jungle stolen.
Game Hunter going to pop up some damage here in the mid lane, clearing that with the decoy. A great steal and movement speed buff by TSM. That's going to put them up currently a very strong 942 gold. So crossing over that 1,000 threshold shortly. Of course, with no towers taken, that's a pretty big lead for them indeed. Damage coming on Game Hunter as it looks for the damage, but can't fight it. Game Hunter still sitting on his ultimate here, unable to rotate effectively, but that's kind of what you do when you pick Loki solo. You just go over there and farm forever.
Yeah, you're basically on an island all by yourself. Now, taking a look here, Geb, is he actually going to get Blink? I mean, it's like 7 minutes, 30 seconds into the game.
It's weird, right? Because you see some Gebs pick up Blink and some not. And a good example of that is Hubwa here. He's gone for Purification Beads, which means he's not going to have that Blink. He's not going to have it available, so he can't blink in, hit the ultimate, hit the damage, and kill some people. He won't have that mobility either. So Captain Twig taking that very different stance from Saya, where he's going to have to sit back and wait, play very cautious and look for his kills, whereas, Will Trickstank get the blink or not? It makes Geb so much more powerful. He can blink in, ult, shockwave, shield somebody, make the team fight go well. But looking at the mid lane comparison right now, you can see 2.1 KDA for Captain Twig, 433 GPM, but Lobster's topping him up the charts on GPM with a little bit less kills.
Now, do you think that is the right purchase for Captain Twig, going with the beads over the blink?
I think there's enough CC on the other side to warrant it, and it's really comes down to play style. If you play blink, you can try to avoid CC by blinking away from it. If you don't, you kind of have to play that back style and try to pop the purification beads. But I think he's just more worried that he falls behind early due to more aggression. He's 1-0-0. He's playing cautiously, so maybe he's not down with that whole blink style.
I mean, speaking of down a lot, Badger finally just hitting level 7 here. He has been on the rotation so much, and he's been doing a good job of that, minus that last mid Harpies, which TSM just completely stole away. But it's always so difficult for the support to kind of crawl back into the game.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that they don't go for, the Watchers into Midas, and they make a mistake early. They're pretty much down for the count for the next 15-20 minutes. But you can see that both supports have gone for it. Looks like the mid lane will be contested here as they run on over. The Gold Fury is still standing, so we're going to wait for that one to complete as they run on over. Knock up on Lobster, forcing him to take a lot of damage.
Ooh, Captain Twig, though. Oh, my God. Down he goes. Lobster saying, get out of my lane, son. And this actually might result in a Gold Fury, as we are seeing Trickstank getting this, and no one's in a position to steal it. Great job.
That dot passive got the kill there, ticking down and taking them out. The Gold Fury will go down to TSM, and no response from SK so far. Rotation from Maniac, but Game Hunter's already in the fight, looking for zeros. Will they go for Maniac? There's the major look. There's ultimate from Nemesis. Need ultimate as well. Looking for the fight, gonna find the damage. There's the ultimate coming out from zeros, but it's not enough. Game Hunter and tower, take tower shots. The belly flop avoided. There it is, going back to the jungle. You're looking for zeros. The bombs are raining down. The sky is burning, and zeros going away from the tower. The damage will take him out. Too much wine for him, and he will be sent down into jail with a DUI. Trickstank driving around in his spaceship, looking for the damage on Reels, but can't get away from him. He's got no damage. He's a Guardian. Why is he still in this fight?
Oh, well, here comes Loki, though, and now he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage as Badger still shuts him down. That's what I'm talking about with Big Baby Bacchus.
Big Baby Bacchus. That damage. That's going to be it. So they're going to be running forward here and see if they can actually push up this mid lane. There's still going to be all 5 members from SK are picked up here. Looking at the gold graph, you're going to see 1,800 gold in favor of TSM right now with 2,100 experience. That's pretty much just the Gold Fury at this point.
Yeah, and it's always so funny. We're 10 minutes into the game, and all objectives are fine. All towers are basically fine. They've been hit maybe a couple times by the minions. And now, do you give credit to that because of the jungle presence?
I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure there, but it also comes down to wards, right? And we're seeing Maniac rotate slowly and Game Hunter get there fast. And so that might be the thing as well. Whereas Mercury can get that ultimate, but we haven't seen Maniac hit any good ultimates for that Sonic Boom.
That's true. That is true. I mean, luckily, Lobster getting a huge kill there on Captain Twig. And, Captain Twig now does have to be a little bit more careful in the mid lane. He now knows that there's a lot of burst potential here. As Geb, Trickstank doing an amazing job with wards. This ward coverage on the Gold Fury side of things is absolutely impressive.
It really is, and that's what controls everything. And then the fact that he's got the mobility, that's what Trickstank was known for pre-launch tournament. It's just high mobility, playing Sun Wukong, kind of going around the map and just getting in everyone's face. And you never got a point where you're like, oh, Trickstank's not in this fight, we're okay. It's always, Trickstank, go away, please.
Nobody likes you.
He's got a highly mobile Guardian. That's what he works well with. And so he's kind of coming to the fruition here with this, able to put the vision across the map, cover the Gold Fury, get in the mid lane team fights, cover the mid camps as well. Kibo Fred looking for Badger, and you're going to force him out of the fight, and it looks like Captain Twig's still standing tall in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Badger versus Gab. This is the battle of the heavyweights, if you will.
That's right.
There's going to be barely any damage there. Meanwhile, though, Captain Twig caught out, and now in comes Badger. He's going to be able to do it, but Captain Twig, luckily able to avoid that one ultimate there from Lobster, manages to stay alive and is able to control his tower.
That's so unfortunate. When you play Agni, and you just barely miss an ultimate, it feels really poor. But he actually missed both those bombs and only got the stun, which means it was just a really unfortunate Venn diagram where the only overlap was the noxious fumes, and he just got stunned but took no damage. I did. It's exactly what it is. It's circles.
I hate math.
Circles. Venn diagram. That's just charting.
Yeah. Well, that's a part of math.
No.
I'm not going to even argue with you about this. All right? I realized I was wrong.
Oh, man. Jotun's Wrath picked up first for Kibo Fred. The question is, will he go for that chins early like we saw last game? And the question is, will it be effective? I mean, it was able to get a lot of damage early with that Nemesis ultimate, Bobat.
Now, the chins was built last game, though, just because they had such a far lead. I mean, this game's only like a 2,000 gold difference. So you think that's still worth it?
Well, they're tied for kills. No towers have fallen. So it seems to be pretty stable so far. And again, the gold is really only that gold Fury that TSM got. Yeah. 1,800 versus the 1,500, it's right there in that zone. So far, all TSM has been successful in gaining over SK is that one gold Fury. So that can turn around on a dime the second SK wants it. But TSM has to give them that opportunity because, again, the vision is in control of TSM.
Yeah, TSM has complete control of the jungle. I mean, finally Zeros now was able to get something going on in his own jungle, but really it's been all about TSM so far in this game.
Hobbo's going to take that damage buff and run on over. But speaking of damage, we're going to see the right side damage coming out. Come out. Maniac, can he dash away in time? He's got the Ishak.
Oh, no!
The grab in the tower. Can he get the ultimate? The Neath ultimate. No, the minions take him down. And Game Hunter just laughing the whole time as he just watches him struggle for life. But looking at Mercury, 2.5 KDA there. And across the way, 2.2 for Loki. Loki, a lot less win-loss ratio there as we see Trixtank taken out in the mid lane area by SK Gaming. And a big win there. But look at that GPM difference there for Mercury.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Mercury just better across the board.
The win-loss is exceptionally better. I mean, 38 to 57. I'll take my odds with 57% there, Dry Bear.
That's the real math coming out. The 57%, that's killer.
That
is killer. Game Hunter is going to be going for a Titan's Bane first here, looks like. He's got that Warrior's Bane already picked up, so curious itemization for him. Not going for the Jotuns for the cooldown, but just wants flat pen. You look across the way, not that bad of a choice, though, considering how squishy Mercury, Captain Twig on Habwa, Maniac on Mercury, Real's playing Rom. You've got Hoombots played by Zeros. I mean, these characters are all very, very squishy. The more pen you have, the more kills you get.
Is it really that plain and simple?
Yeah.
For you?
Yep.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Bomb on Captain Twig mid lane. Back to the tower he goes. Game Hunter looking to steal the blue buff maybe as Trixtank gets caught. Now he's been rotating a lot on Trixtank and getting caught a couple times.
Yeah, Badja also is taking some interesting pathing. But I mean, Trixtank, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he kind of notorious for getting caught in jungles all the time?
Only when he was playing Amir.
Yeah?
He had that Amir match at 0 and 13, 15, and not a good look for him, but it's so hard to play a slow character like Amir. Geb, a little bit different. Pretty easy to escape. Got that CC immunity on the latter end of rollout. He's got the Geb shield, of course. Stone shield makes a big difference. He's got the ultimate that gets the stun. Of course, the shockwave's got that little knock up there. So a lot more CC, so hopefully it holds on a little bit longer, but man, a pretty rough start in the beginning for SK, but they're able to hold on to the gold count.
Yep, and it looks like we are going to be getting this grouping here on the mid Harpies. Habwa is going to be in a decent spot here. This is going to be a full-blown team fight here as Badge is going to jump in there, trying to get some stuns on. Only gets the stun down on Trixtank, though, unfortunately, but at least they were able to secure the mid-Harpies.
They got it down. Book finished off for Captain Twig, so that's going to make a lot of difference for his damage, but he needs pen. He needs penetration, so I imagine he might go straight into the shard right now just for the flat pen, or maybe even the spear. We've seen some Habwas go for spear just because you have so many sources of damage to stack it up. You need to stack up 2 stacks to get the full entirety of that spear. So we'll see what he decides to go for here, but I imagine pen would be the next selection.
Yep, Lobster now finally gravitating back in there. And Lobster actually having full actives already.
Oh, man.
Do you like the call?
He's scared.
Is it really?
He's scared. I mean,
he's just scared, so that's why he does it.
He doesn't want to get picked.
His build seems a little bit, completely inferior to Captain Twig's as well.
Well, he's got a little bit of the lifesteal, right? A little bit more damage. Of course, the lower he gets, and that's why he's building into that Bancroft's talent is that he's got that extra little bit of lifesteal, and then the lower he gets on HP, the more damage he does. I mean, Bancroft's talent can give you an additional 199 magical power if you're at 1% HP. So the lower you are, the better it is. But I think he's at the point now where he's saying, okay, I've got Bacchus ultimate, Bacchus knockup, Bacchus stun. We got the slow from Hoonbots, the fear from Hoonbots, the slow and cripple from Rom. We've got, the knockup from Habwa. We got the slow from Habwa. We've got the stun from Merc. He's just like, you know what? Stop it.
I actually zoned out halfway through there as Game Hunter just banged out Captain Twig, and that is the scary thing about Loki, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Loki notorious for crushing hopes and dreams in solo queue as well. But, even in the competitive level, when you get a Fed Loki. It is just bad.
That blink from Zeros was A level right there. Kivo Fred forced away Sonic Boom, finally hitting its mark. Maniac gets the kill. Kivo Fred will go down. Killing spree for Reels. Up in the air, Reels goes. Doesn't get the shots. He gets 1, 2, needs a third. Where will it go? Game Hunter looking for Zeros. Gonna find it. Dash away dies to the vanish damage. The poison was too much. Now Game Hunter dash away gets killed up by Reels. Reels double kill in this team fight. Badger looking for Tricks Tank at about 1/3 HP. He's got about 700 HP to his name. The Gold Free was leashed though. They're not fighting over anything right now. It looks like both teams will elect to back away. It's a 2-for-2 exchange. Captain Twig dying in the beginning to Game Hunter. Zeros dying and then to Reels, but Reels getting 2 kills. Kivo Fred and Game Hunter off the back damage from Zeros.
Well, Reels actually going for the rotation here. Is he going to go for this?
The
Sentry Ward is going to be there, and he is actually going to start it. I think he might be baiting this just to try to get a team fight here, but here comes Mercury, and now they're just going to leash it and get out of dodge, but Habwa is going to be here to help out.
Got the H-Damage popped up there, avoiding damage from Odd. Now look for Smek. Smek knocked up there from the Habwa. Backflip goes, needs the shot, got the Astral Strike. No ultimate from the Astral Barrage here. Now it goes up, Water Spout. Shield will prevent it from being knocked up, of course. And now they're looking for Tricks Tank, but that will be curtains of that team fight, or will it? Captain Twig taking some damage there, but backing away.
Geb is overpowered. Geb's the best. He is the best, man. Oh, that's why you banned Geb. Geb single-handedly disrupted that entire engagement.
It's so
he
hard
was
to
just
kill
like,
anyone.
yeah, by the way, Captain Twig, I understand you hit your water spout, but I'm going to send you up in the
Well, one thing to keep in mind as well is we see Smek not picking up lifesteal. He's got the Heartseeker, the Warrior Tabi, the Executioner. He's got the no lifesteal, but a lot of damage. And so maybe he's just building into picking up that more damage on the ultimate so he can get that global presence. But you can see when he's trying to box Reels, who has the Devourer's Gauntlet, he doesn't seem to pick it up. Now, one thing to mention, Neath does have that Unravel, so you don't really need the lifesteal in the lane. He's got the AoE lifesteal, he can keep his health up, but when it comes down to blows and you're boxing another hunter and you don't have any items, Unravel's not enough.
Yeah, so what do you get in exchange?
Well, he's going to have to go for a possible late-game Bloodforge or maybe even just skip lifesteal entirely, which means that he has no late-game boxing potential. It just comes down to who kills who first. He won't be healing himself at all, so that's rough.
Yeah, and I mean, still, right now, just look at your minimap and notice how there's like there's 2 wards on the map here for SK. Division, TSM, very, very strict on that, and it's working out great.
Well, it's starting to pick up here a little bit as Badger and Trixlink have the slap fight of the century, the notorious slap fight of supports that goes nowhere and makes no one happy. But they're going to back away from that one. Bacchus is a little bit too drunk for this shenanigans, going back to the back towards his own jungle. The Gold Fury is warded in favor of TSM. Badger has no wards to his name right now. We have a sentry ward from Captain Twig. I'm curious to see why he's not using it. It looks like he's going to do exactly what I just said he should do and just make me look silly.
Now, isn't it kind of funny that we're seeing how Lobster... we just talked about it, and you were like, oh, he's scared. And, he has all actives. And now on the other side, Smek's like, I got greater sprint. I don't need beads.
Oh, whoa. No CC immunity at all. Can't cleanse anything. Now, he is basically putting... This is the trust fall, right? He's like,
yeah,
Tricks Tank, please cleanse me, because I don't have beads. Please catch me as I fall, because that's all he's got. He can't cleanse anything coming out from SK.
Now, obviously, that's a very, very ballsy call.
It is.
But do you agree with it? I mean, Tricks Tank's job is basically to babysit.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 1,000 gold in hand for Smek, so we'll see what he goes home and buys. He may just go back and buy a full beads, and I think he realized that a lot of it comes down to the slow from Reels, and maybe he's not really worried about the hard CC until team fights start, and he'll pick it up a little bit later. But speaking of team fights, Gold Free started up here, Maniac from the back. Everyone's got ultimates right now. There goes the Sonic Boom, activate, dashing away. Kivo Fred coming forward, looking for the damage on Badge, jumps in. The Gold Free's already dead. Sonic Boom gonna hit no one. Purification Beast already.
No!
Damage on top of Badge. He's dashing away. There's the knock of Crushing Wave coming through, but only hitting Kivo Fred. It's not enough. Damage on Badge. Here comes Game Hunter. Does he go for the kill? Not going to turn back around. They're going to kill out Cubo Fred. Geb goes down. No one in SK has died just yet. Smek and Lobster out of the fight. No bombs available. Game Hunter is looking for the back end kill, but can't go back there. That was very interesting. It's going to 2-for-0 exchange in favor of SK, but TSM got the gold.
Yeah, and TSM really just sat there and focused on Badger. I mean, he got caught out. I mean, he's obviously the front line, but you don't want to be putting your entire stock on dealing with the support.
Oh, yeah.
You can't be focusing Guardians in that time, and luckily, I mean, it could have went even worse. I mean, Tricks Tank did a good job disrupting everything, but he missed the Cataclysm on a couple people there, and because of that, he did go down.
Well, that's the problem, right? And it's worst case scenario in that situation. You're looking and saying, okay, if we focus the Guardian and he doesn't die, we're screwed. And that's exactly what happened for TSM. They went for Badja. Badja ended up not dying, and at the same point, you're looking at it and saying, okay, was it really worth it for them to dive right on top of Badja? Now, of course, there's a good point in saying that if you take him out, they can't secure the gold. Badja jumped in there and didn't get it anyway. TSM already had it, so it seemed like the unwillingness to initiate from Game Hunter, plus the lack of damage from Lobster, and the fact that they just weren't ready for that counter initiation means that TSM kind of suffered a bit, and the fact that they lost two of the, they lost Cuvo. Shark Tank not so bad, but losing Cuvo was pretty rough.
Yeah, and SK is still not in a bad position. I mean, objectively speaking, they're okay. I mean, they will probably get 500 gold out of this turret here just because Maniac is going to be able to put a lot of pressure on it, and he does have the help here of Badja. So we might actually see a little bit of an engagement here very, very soon, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're looking at it and thinking, okay, how are they going to be able to control this mid area? Because, the towers are still standing. They have the wards, sir. They have the vision, but it really, with how much damage is building up here, you've got Loki on one team, Hubble on the other, Mercury around as well. There's so much burst damage, especially with Agni raining down from above, and the fact that Rom can come in from a long distance as well. The artillery strikes are going to be so strong that if you misstep for a second, you could end up getting bursted.
Wait, which is always the difficult part here. Now, taking a look at builds here, I got a couple things that are catching my eye, which is Zero's Hide of the Urchin.
Okay.
I say it with a question mark because I don't understand.
Well, this is something we don't see too often on, Hoonbots. And a lot of time Hoonbots will go for the Shifter Shield instead, just to get the extra little bit of damage. This is actually a build we see core on Thor.
Okay.
Thor will usually pick up Jotun's Wrath into Hide of the Urchin just for the defense, the fact that he's going to be in the fight the whole time, and when he's close by to people, he's able to get a lot of extra damage from his passive. Rotation on the left side, looking for Reels, not going to knock him up. The Nemesis ultimate on top of Reels, force him away. Unravel going to slow him down a bit, but Sprint is active. Cubo for the slow on Badja, belly flopping away in graceful format. Zeros looking for the bomb from Lobster, not going to find it, so they're going to back off here. But yeah, very tanky build from Zeros.
Yeah, Lobster's actually had a couple difficult times here hitting his abilities. I mean, he needs to be hitting those bombs. I mean, he is the mage, and he has going to be doing all the damage for his team.
Cubo Fred is going to defend the mid lane here. Retribution Shield keeps him alive and well and healthy. Captain Twig looks like he's been going for a Breastplate of Valor here a little bit early. Looks like he's very, very scared of Nemesis, Neith, and Loki.
That kind of seems to be the overall feel I've gotten of this game, is that the teams are kind of scared.
Yeah.
They're basically building for prevention instead of any kind of damage.
Well, you've got a lot of assassins. You got a lot of hyper carries, a lot of late game carries. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right side, damage. Game Hunter trying to fight Maniac here. Maniac a little bit low. Game Hunter has no ultimate. Sonic Boom on top. Popping the advantage. Look for the aim strike. Can he get the distance? There's the Decoy. They're going to miss the swing. Swing and a miss, and has to back away from that one.
And Maniac actually did lose his tower there, so we are seeing as SK will finally lose the first tower of the game. We're on board. In around 23 minutes.
We're getting ready to go.
Yeah. Things are going to pick up here. Mid Harpies coming up. We are seeing SK set up for those as well. We would like to see a little bit of wards down. They could get a little bit ballsier with their ward coverage, couldn't they? Couldn't they start putting them in deep down by the speed buff?
Right, yeah. I mean, the speed buff is more of an early game area, but it does help with the rotations, because when they come by that buff, you'll be able to see it. And I have to make one correction, of course. That is a steel mail that is down there, which, might be building into a mid-guardian. We'll see what he decides to pick up here, but of course that is not going to be a breastplate of valor. You need the iron mail into the steel there. Not going to be able to pick it up. Of course, that doesn't build a tree. So that's my mistake, but, honestly, even stranger then, has no CDR on that one. Just looking for, I would imagine, a mid-guardian here.
Captain Twig getting very, very ballsy, taking on 3 members of TSM. TSM actually rotating into the jungle here. This is going to be Trixtank has one. Cubo Fred comes in as well. This is going to be Zeros taking a little bit of damage, is going to be able to disengage. Here comes Badja, though.
Badja coming in hot, looking for the initiation. The Gold Fear is still standing. Badja is looking at something. We'll see if he can actually dash for the double dash from Cubo Fred. Smack him away. Game Hunter has an ultimate. There goes Nemesis ultimate as well. Will they force him out? They will indeed. Reels pops up the attack speed increase. Astral Strike on the ground. Made you look. Avoid a lot of damage. Sonic Boom. No Sonic Boom. The Gold Fear is dead.
Another objective in favor of TSM.
Yeah.
That just seems to be the trend, man. It's just, by the way, we're going to just secure everything. They're disengaging perfectly. They don't want anything to do with team fights. Meanwhile, Game Hunter is able to get a kill on Maniac. This might result in a mid-tower, but based on, I mean, Lobster does have a chance. He does have the damage to really just push Zeros all the way back. Zeros is actually going to go to try to protect it just a little bit, though.
I don't know if I like this play. It's 500 gold. Just let it go. He's do exactly that. Going to back away here. Going back towards his own tower. We do see that Trickstang has picked up a Magi's Blessing as well, so he's got that kind of counter initiation. He's got a lot of defense built into his kit. He's got that stone shield. It looks like Cap Twig is not going to be completing that steel mail just yet, and he might be just holding on to it for the physical protection and HP, going straight into Pen like I figured he would earlier, just going straight into that Obsidian Shard. Looks like he just got a little bit of physical and HP to start the match and make sure he doesn't get bursted immediately by the Loki or the Neath or the Nemesis, and then go straight into Pen.
Now, looking at it, if you're sitting here rooting for SK, what does SK need to do to really... I mean, they're not out of the game, but I mean, they are down right now, but they have no control over any of the objectives right now.
Well, that's kind of like the Cinderella story, right? As you look at it, then they come in from humble beginnings. They had 5,000 gold behind. They're under pressure. They're under duress. They're not getting gold theories. But then they have this inherent value where they have Mercury, Habwa, Rom, and Hoon bots on their team. So if they get to late game, you know, Habwa's one of those characters like Giannis where you're really scared to go close to them. Oh, big box on the left side. Reel's looking for the fight here. Going to find some damage with Astral Strike. Needs one more crit. Gets it! Smack gets erased there with an S. And Reel's on a rampage here. ×5 takes out Smack.
Yeah, and Smack was actually a little bit up until that happened. Reel's 5-0-3. Holding it down for his team as he is now going to go ahead and grab this blue buff as well. So Reels, once team fights start, SK, they're in a very good spot as long as they can keep Reels alive.
Yeah, Reels is going to be a big core for them because he got the extra gold. He's got the extra damage. And as he scales in late game, he's going to be that very safe and sturdy foundation they're going to build their team fight off of. Because Rom's going to start the fight with the ultimate, do a lot of damage at range, and then try to finish it up by dashing in. We look for the ultimate there. Ooh, forcing the Fear No Evil coming out from the bots. Dashing in is Kibo Fred, putting the fear in him.
Yep, now Hebo going to go ahead and rotate over. Meanwhile, we haven't really said Maniac's name at all, with the exception of, oh, he lost his tower and he's died. I mean, he's been up in the action. He has 4 assists, but, you know, he hasn't really made his presence known like we see most Mercuries do.
Well, he's playing the very safe Mercury style. This is kind of like the sit back and poke style. He's got the Golden Bow and the Deathbringer, and so he doesn't have to commit just yet. He doesn't really have any attack speed other than his maximum velocity, his second ability. So he's really going to be leaning on his late game prowess. It looks like he's going for Witchblade, and again, you have a lot of physical damage dealers on the side of TSM. You've got Neath, Nemesis, and Loki, and so you're wondering how's he going to transition out of this. He's got the Witchblade, a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of reduction in attack speed, a little bit of physical protection, and some movement speed, going to help him out a lot, which of course the faster he goes, the more damage he does, as he is the fastest god alive. So with that Deathbringer, he's got a lot of crit, he's got a lot of poke, but he's waiting to activate as an in-hander.
And Mercury now just going to disengage completely from that. We do have Reels heading back into his lane, looking to do a little 1v1 boxing here, ideally for him, because he just erased Neath. But looking at it here, we do have another show of absorption coming out of Badger, which, do you like it?
I do. I think it's been a really big trend in the SPL so far, and it's kind of one of the things where you look at it and say, okay, so these team fights seem to be all about burst, right? And you're looking at it and you're saying, why is this making such a big difference? And well, you know, why not just limit the burst? Why not just pop the shell? Get the flat protections, the percentage protections. You're going to actually keep yourself alive longer. When you look at characters, you know, and you're going to see shell on the side of SK, but you look at TSM, right? If Loki can't kill you outright, his follow-up is pretty weak. He's one of the weakest assassins after he's used all of his abilities. I mean, Serket can still crit. Loki's going to need to be behind you to get some good damage. Of course, you see he has no crit items, just now starting the short sword. So if they stop the assassinate, aim strike, vanish combination from Loki, it's going to be hard for him to follow up on that, and that's what they're banking on.
Yeah, well, they threw the Sentry Ward down. They were able to take out one of SK's. That's going to be a big flag here, big symbol for SK to know, okay, they might be ready for Fire Giant. We have to answer this. But Trickstank building a Pestilence.
Yeah, it's generally an item we see against healing teams, just because as the aura, of course, reduces their healing by 20%, so you try to slow down a Ra or an Aphrodite, you know, all it's going to do here is slow down the lifesteal from characters like Mercury or Reels.
So it's a weird item to build, correct?
I mean, it's a little cheaper than Bulwark, but I think Bulwark would have been a better pick for him, able to get that passive activation when you take less damage, a little bit more HP, so yeah, it's a little different, you know, a little cheap, of course, going to stop the healing from Reels, and maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe even stop the healing from Badger as well will come out from their generation, but you know, yeah, it's a little strange of an item to pick up here.
And taking a look, Zero's now finally pushing in here. Wards have been placed down. Rama still Rom, excuse me, sitting, hanging out. Captain Twig getting ready to rotate. These teams are kind of in like just a little bit of a standoff. They're so content with farming that I would assume they're just still waiting on the pick. But we are going to see another Gold Fury here possibly go in favor of TSM.
Well, look at the Gold Fury's going to be started up by TSM. Reels is in the area, but not a whole lot he can do by himself since that Hog 3 still active. Looking for the poke. Not going to get much there. Critting for 146 on Trick's tank. That just tickles his butt skis, and he's going to get out there.
Yeah, he doesn't even care.
Yeah.
He laughs at him.
It's like, what is that, a mosquito?
Yeah. How dare you? And Haba actually going to be caught here. This is going to be Captain Twig. In comes Maniac. A lot of damage on Loki. Loki able to escape. Rom is going to jump up. Will he be able to get a kill? In comes an ult. Misses one. Misses two. Doesn't hit a single thing. And meanwhile, Neath is able to secure a kill.
Captain's really going down there. This is a good zone here for TSM. SK is split up, but then again, so is TSM. And again, to Reels' credit, he didn't have vision there. You can't actually see over obstacles with that ultimate, so he was shooting blind. He was hoping, I'm going to get lucky with this and try to kill it down, rather than going for the safe route of just trying to get damage into the right target. So they're going to lose their mid laner there on Captain Twig, and they're going to go down. Will they go for Fire Giant? I don't think so. Trickstank's going to be going home, and of course they don't have Hog 3. Oh, was he? Trickstank. He was backing in front of minions, canceled the back, into the jungle he goes. This may have been a backbait from TSM, forcing SK to think they're not going to go for Fire Giant, but Trickstank is definitely there.
This sneaky, sneaky kitten.
Oh,
how dare he? Well, here comes a potential steal here. In comes Hunbats, and Maniac is going to be there. TSM did get it. So now we are going to see TSM be on the complete offensive. We see as now Game Hunter is able to take down one tower. Can he make it two? That Fire Giant making it, so much better for him to cut through this. So this might be another tower in their favor.
Well, they're kind of pushing forward here. The left side tower will be falling down as Game Hunter takes it out. The Gold Fury is done, dead and gone. The Fire Giant is dead and gone as well, and all 5 members on TSM have it. They're making the push on the right side tower here.
Wow.
It's going to fall more gold for them. Look at the charts, 11,000 gold in favor of TSM, 8,000 experience as well. Things are looking so good, and the mid tower will be attacked now next. Looks like there's nothing that SK can do to stop it.
So perfect from TSM, just really doing an excellent job putting the Fire Giant to complete use, and they're not done yet as they are still going to be hanging out here in the mid lane. Looks like they are going to go ahead and disengage though, maybe rotate back, just clear out SK's jungle, which is also a good move.
Well, you look at 12,000 gold. It's not the end of the world. This is not a death sentence for SK just yet. They still have the chance to fight through this. The kills are 9 to 8. The biggest thing is that a lot of this gold comes from towers. You can see not a single tower right now is down on the side of TSM. So SK has not killed a single tower just yet. So, that's a lot of gold. I mean, you got 500 per tier 1, 1,500 per tier 2. That's going to be a very, very strong 6,000 gold they have yet to pick up that's just inherent in the towers. So they're just behind 12,000. That's half their distance.
Half their distance, but when you're looking at it, I mean, TSM's been completely controlling everything so far.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, have you seen anything that would basically say SK is going to be able to win this game? Because I haven't, regardless of the kills being 9 to 8 in favor of SK's side, which is mainly Reels, right?
Right.
Reels is what? He is 5-0. So mainly he's basically making up half their kills,
yes.
Right? So looking at it, I would almost say TSM's controlled this game, and kills mean absolutely nothing, which they don't because the game isn't about kills.
Honestly, I'm going to take a big old clock and slap it on a TSM right now because you look at the lineup for SK, it's all hyper carries, it's all late game carries, it's all late game damage. Now, granted, their team fight is not as strong because of it, but if this game goes on another 20 minutes, another 15 minutes, TSM's going to be taking so much damage. I mean, you look across the way, Loki is insta-dead by Hobwa. Lobster walks by the lane, crushing wave, done. You look at Mercury, one punch and takes him out. So if they get that late game damage, if they catch up in items and finish their builds, I think TSM really has to close this match.
Yeah, how long do you give TSM? Right? Because right now, they've stolen the jungle of SK minus the blue buff. They are going to get their own damage, and now this is just going to be another push right through the lane as they're getting just more and more money, and it's just going to be a push straight down the middle or to the other side to deny SK from even thinking about getting wards down by the Gold Fury.
Well, the Gold Fury at this point is kind of necessary for SK, but TSM doesn't care. They don't need the gold. They don't need the control, and they're not going to risk a team fight loss on a Gold Fury this late in the game. Cubo is going to speed by Badger and just give him a high five and say hello and come back in for a secondary, looking for Zero, slowing him down. There goes the Chris from Zero. Zero's is fighting this for whatever reason. He's going to back away very, very quickly, dropping down in HP values. Bomb coming out from Lobster, popping some bubbles and forcing them back into their base. Oh, look at this, though. Game Hunter split pushing the right lane.
Yeah, that's a great play. Now, this is going to actually split them up completely. We do
They're all
have Captain
gonna
Twig
find
there.
it.
Oh, my God. Look at the damage go down. The Aegis is going to keep Captain Twig alive here. He does have help from Maniac. Game Hunter is going to go invisible now and tries to jump back on there. He has to make it out of here.
Oh, the
I don't think
punch!
it's going to happen.
That's it, though. But in trouble left side, it looks like SK is under pressure here. The duress is coming down. Trick's tank forced away by the Zero's ultimate. Looking for Badger. Badger half HP. Dropping on top. The Phoenix is already dead here. Jumping in. Maniac needs to get some serious punch damage before he gets taken out by Cubo, but it's not going to be enough. Capped into a crushing wave right into the blade of Cubo, slicing down not only his life, but his possibility at closing out this game. Going to late game. SK in trouble. They got to put up the best defense of their life. They're going to turn into a turtle here and make sure they don't drop, but the Titan's under pressure.
Oh, Lops is just doing so much damage. Bach is trying to do everything possible for him, isn't able to do it. That is going to be a deicide, and GG TSM closing out so very strong.
Oh, man.
So very strong.
And we've seen a trend, right? The last 3 weeks have been about who has the better late game. But the better late game was on SK. So this is who has the better team fight. TSM definitely had the better team fight. They controlled the whole game. And Nemesis, after last game and this game, being very highly valued. Look at the damage numbers up on the screen here. You can see Cubo Fred dropping 17k, 12k on Game Hunter, 16k on Lobster. In fact, again, this is the second game in a row, Gandhi, where Nemesis was top damage.
Yeah? Why do you think that is?
It's all single target damage in the poke, right? Because we saw before, Nemesis can come up, slice and dice, shield, and get out of the tower. Just a lot of poke, a lot of poke, a lot of poke.
She kind of comes in and gets out.
Yeah, and then when you get close, she's got chins, and she just beats you to death with that sword.
And both of them actually did rush chins early.
That's right.
So they had a little bit of lead, but I do believe we actually do have a replay here of Nemesis.
Let's see it. You can see Nemesis up on screen here again. For the second game in a row, we're going to see another Nemesis highlight. And Nemesis now looking to be very strong here. Great Geb shield. Look at the single target damage from the slicing. Maniac looking for a punch, but they're going to get... And watch the dash. Captain Twig's going to go right into it and just chunk.
Excuse me.
I have a ninja sword.
I do not like waves in my face.
A ninja sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water apparently doesn't do well for swords.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's it's life for you.
It's rough. But that's going to close out European region for today. It's for the Smite Pro League. If you're looking for more action, the Smite Showcase will be up next at the 4 o'clock hour in EDT, or Eastern Standard Time. We'll be seeing that at 10 p.m. CEST, so if you're Central Europe, that's a better time zone for you to understand. But it'll be coming up very shortly here. This will be coming back in about 30 minutes or so. You'll see the Smite Showcase. After that, if you're looking for more Smite Pro action, later tonight at 7 p.m. will be the start of the pre-show, which will be 1 a.m. CEST. This is the North American time zone for the late night European viewers. You'll be able to see it as well. We're going to cut to a brief break here, come up with the Smite Showcase, and we'll see you later today for the rest of the Pro League.